Okay, you made me close. Okay.
It's too early. Okay.
Jack, is that a real background?
Rabbi, how come you're on twice?
You'll understand in a moment.
Okay.
I am in twice. Sod Hashem nireav. The reason is because, as you know, in my laptop at home, the sound doesn't work. I have to have the earphones. And here in the other one, I can simply plug my earphone here, and I am much more comfortable. Okay, we were waiting for Zolta. And Zolta is here. Hello. Hi, Charles. So it's 1:01. Lunch and Learn, Le'ilu Nishmat Yitzhak Ben Nizha, is dedicated to the blessing memory of Yitzhak Ben Nizha Esses. Alav Shalom. Sunday is his yortzeit. By his loving family, Tiyeh Nishmato, Tzerura B'Tzrora Hayim. Amen. So, the topic of today that Jack Dweck picked is when hope meets fear. And when hope meets fear, related to the parasha of the week of Haye Sara. Let's stop for a second. Abraham Avinu entered to the scene in Parashat Lech Lecha, to be more exact, at the end of Parashat Noah. But he enters in Lech Lecha with the mission and with the promise. Lech Lecha, go, leave everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him one promise. What is the promise? The land of Israel. He gave her the second promise. What is the second promise? You're going to have children, as Rashi said when we learned it last week. And he said, if you stay, or Al-Sheikh was, I don't remember where, he said, if you stay outside of Eretz Yisrael, you will not have family. The place to go for you to plant your roots is in Eretz Yisrael. Children, Haftahat ha'aretz, Haftahat ha'banim. The two promises he got. The promise of children and the land of Israel. Abraham Avinu in Parashat Lech Lecha and went through the whole life. And then we saw him with the Akedat Yitzhak at the end of last week's parasha. And Akedat Yitzhak is binding his son. He had a son, finally. So let's summarize his life now when Sara is dying, when Sara died. Hashem promised him the land. Does he have the land? He doesn't have even an inch worth to bury his wife. He doesn't have it. The whole lifetime. He was hand by hand with Sarah. She went with him with the same promise. And here he has to bury her and he's struggling. He doesn't have a place. This is not his land. This is not his place. What is the promise of Hashem? And you're going to have descendants like Keholayam, like the sand of the Kekochavei HaShamayim, like the stars of the heaven. Bezori has one son. Yeah. The other one is out of the house. One son is going to continue. And this guy is not even married. At his age, Abraham doesn't see a grandson. And not even married. What is the descendants? Multiply like Kochavei HaShamayim. What moments of fear, right? Fear is all those moments of uncertainty. Fear is the moment that person got to despair. And there is no greatest moment for that feeling that when you're facing death, and he is here facing the death of his wife. Where did Hashem promise him the land? Nechama Leibovich put the 5 places when that promise was happening. And let's go through it. Vayera Hashem el Abraham, this is in Perashat Lech Lecha. God, the first thing that he did, and by the way, that happened in Elon Moreh, remember that. In Elon Moreh was the first appearance when God, you understand Rabbi Lieberman, how tied he was to Elon Moreh. This is the place where Hashem promised the land of Israel to Abraham Avinu first time. So look, this land I'm going to give it to your descendants. So you have Lecha etenena. In the next passage. So you have here Haaretz, you have the land, and you have here also the children. The second time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu appears to him, Ve'amar Hashem el Abraham, Acharei Pared, is after, this is exactly the moment, after he separate, meaning he's around Hebron, after he separate from Lot, he said, Sana einecha ureh, look, yeah, what place is that? Elonim Amreh. Look, you're going to see the Shama, Tzafona, Negba, all these land, Lecha etenena, I give it to you. Ule Zaracha, to your descendants forever. Again, 2 promises, the promise of the land and the promise of Zaracha. Besamti et Zaracha, then your descendant will be Ke'afar, it's like the dust of the earth. Yeah, and they're going to be like the stars, you're never going to be able to count them. Third promise, Vayomer elav, Ani Hashem, Asher hotzeticha me'ur kasdim. I am God who took you out of the furnace of Ur Kasdim. Latet lecha, what was that? To give it to you. What are the children? Children are not mentioned here. Meaning, we're missing one time the children here. To give you this land to inherit it. And Abraham didn't take possession of this land until now in our parasha. Now continue the 4th time. Gam bayom hahu karat Hashem Abraham berit. That day Hashem made a covenant with Abraham. Lezaracha, to your descendants, I give this land. Again, the land and the descendants. And the 5th time, as Nechama Leibovich counted them, Hakimoti, and I'm making, this is again in Elonim Amreh, Hakimoti et Beriti, I'm making this covenant between you and Zaracha and the descendants coming after, forever, to be your God and to your descendants, Venatati lecha, and I'm giving you and your descendants this land to live on it, et Eretz Megurecha, et Kol Eretz Canaan, the whole land of Canaan, le'achuzat olam. Yeah, a possession forever. You see the promises. So we have 5 promises of the land of Israel and 4 promises for the children. No, not the promise of the children is also, there is another one. Kivarech avarechecha. Va'arbe et zaracha kekochevei hashamayim ve'kachol hayam al sefat hayam. There is one promise clearly here. I'm going to make you a big nation. Not tied with the land of Israel. This is the 5th one. So 5 promises of the land and 5 promises of the children. And where we are in Perashat Haye Sara. And then Vayu Haye Sara, 100 shana, 20 shana, 7 shani, Shene Haye Sara. 127 years of Sarah. And we don't have it. Vatamot Sarah, and she died in Hebron. Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan, the one that was promised to Abraham. And Abraham is crying her. Lispol de Sarah, eulogizing and crying her. So you can feel, you can put words to his thoughts. Yeah, we went these all way together. I had those promises of God. And where are we? You die and you didn't see the land of Israel. You didn't see the descendants coming after. So this is really a moment of despair, fear, anxiety, I'm sure. What you do at that moment? So Abraham Avinu, Vayakom Abraham me'al penei meto. What is Vayakom? He stand up. Well, he was sitting me'al penei meto, from the face of his dead. Meaning, you know what he did? He stand up, means he pushed away the problem of penei meto, of death. He pushed away the anxiety and the fear and the questions, and he pushed them away. Me'al penei meto, Vayakom, he stand up. And then he's standing to speak with Bnei Het, to discuss with Bnei Het. Start for a second. What he's going to talk here? Abraham Avinu understand that this is the moment to make the promise happen. This is the moment that I'm going to have to own. Yeah, in honor of my wife, Sara, I have to own a piece of land in Eretz Israel. I'm going to make this promise of God become a reality, but getting an ahuzat kever. The word ahuzah means to grab. Ahuzah is to take possession. He doesn't want a piece of land to bury her. They're going to offer him that. He's not looking for a grave. He's going to have a grave for free. But Abraham is not looking for a grave. He's looking for ahuzah, from taking possession to the land of Israel. And what happened? So he has to discuss with the people of Haye. He has to go to the UN and to discuss it. Can I have some kind of rights in this land? What will be his argument? I found it fascinating. Listen, ger v'toshav anochi imachem. I am a stranger and I'm a resident. So English, please. When you have the immigration, you have to decide if you have are you an alien or are you a resident? Decide it. Ger v'toshav, both of them. Anochi, and with you imachem. I saw a beautiful perush. He said, Abraham Avinu is trying to give a lesson to Bnei Het. He's trying to say, listen, in life, we are both. We are also aliens, meaning my neshama doesn't belong here. My neshama is a stranger here. Toshav, my body is resident. It's here, it's real, it's part of the nature. And you know what? Anochi, this is who I am. I am part of also neshama and also a physical and spiritual. Ger, the ger is the spiritual, and toshav, I'm here, resident in physically with you. Imachem, you are the same like me. Don't have illusion. Don't say, no, this is you, Abraham. Don't make yourself illusion. We both are in the same category. In front of God, we're equal. So, give me also possession, ahuzat keber imachem, with you. What I'm claiming to you is something physical. Yeah, because we have both parts, the ekvera, and then I can bury my dead beloved in that place. Isn't that bizarre that our relation with the land of Israel starts through a kever, to a place of burial? Would be much more, pastoral, romantic, more strong to have a part of the land of Israel, because I have a sadeh, I have a field that I can plant trees for generations to come, that they will eat the fruits. Isn't that more romantic to talk? Your connection to the land of Israel is going to be what happened in a grave? Nothing. The mat is sitting there. Why the Torah is giving Abraham Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, giving the land, Ahuzat Kever, the rights of the land of Israel through a burial to a grave. So let's keep that question. But why Sara imenu? Vayu Haye Sara. This is not the Perashat, but I'm going to play with the words. Haye Sara is in plural, the lives of Sara. Sara seems to be the pasuk inviting me at least to have a delirious idea that Sara has two moments of life. She has the life that she left until now. We know the story of her life. And she has the life that she's going to start living from now on when she's dead. Because it's very bizarre. Haye Sara, you're going to tell me the life of Sara and you tell me that she died? Yes, there is a life from the moment that she died. What is the life of Haye Sara? What she initiated by dying? Amazing. Sara Imenu was I say it last night, the extremist, very extreme about the land of Israel. Her emunah that the land of Israel belonged to her descendants. Lo yirash ben ama zein benim Yitzhak. This son of the servant, this son of Hagar will not inherit the land, will not inherit the promise that we got from Hashem, will not inherit it, with my son Yitzhak. It's only for Yitzhak, my son. And this is the place that belongs to us. That was very kahana. Haye Sara Imenu wasn't that. She's the one who's going to establish. When did she establish this possession of the land completely and exclusively for Am Yisrael? She established it after her death in our parasha. So that's why we can call her Haye Sara. She's a living message. Yeah, she continued to live after her death and she's acting. So that's what Abraham Avinu is asking Benechet. And his argument was good. He said, we're all the same at the end of the day. We also have the spiritual part and the physical. I am missing that physical. Share it with me. Vaya'anu Benechet, the Benechet answered to Abraham, Adoni Shema'enu. Sir, listen. No, Shema'enu. Adoni Nesi Elohim ata betochenu. First of all, we are not imachem, not imanu. You live betochenu. You live among us. You're not like us. But you are great. You are Nesi Elohim. You are a prince. We didn't buy your theory, with all due respect, Abraham Avinu, about spiritual and physical, and you are like us. But no, you are only spiritual. You represent with us, and we have a lot of respect to the clergy. You are Nesi, a prince of God. You have the church. Nesi Elohim ata betochenu, and you live among us. So you know, in our rules, in Hammurabi rules, you are not entitled to have a piece of land, a piece of land to be buried here, only for resident, and you're not a resident. Even if you wanted to say that you're a resident, you don't. But obviously, we're not going to leave you without burying your dead. This is our plots. Pick one. Nobody's going to take away your right to bury your dead. Here, there is many plots. Choose the one that you want. Abraham Avinu, with all due respect, said, thank you. But then he asked, please, I would like to have Mr. Ephron. I know exactly what I have on mind. Let me talk to Ephron. And Ephron obviously was in the same meeting. And then he asked, I'm looking for a cave. And he had it at the end of his field. Meaning, listen, I am not pretending to have the field. I want the me'ara. I'm not trying to tell you that I'm going to build here a possession. I'm going to take part by planting, by saying to my children, little by little, expansion, development of the land. I'm going to prove that this is mine forever. We're never going to move from here. No, I only want at that point, me'ara, a cave. And I'm ready to pay. And you know the negotiation, how it went. Yeah. But it's still, Abraham Avinu is, who is talking to us? To the people of the land. He is not the people of the land. Isn't that so sad? Look how much he has to go through. And the Torah could have told me this story on 2 words. He bought from a lot of money from Mr. Ephron, and it cost him a fortune. Yeah, they rip him off, but he had the Torah doesn't say that. Went to 10 Pesukim to tell me the whole story, how it was the negotiation, how much he has to fight to have this ahuzah, this grabbing, this possession from the land. Vayomer be'oznei am haaretz, yes, we all recognize that you are the master of the land, and the promise of Hashem didn't happen yet. Rushema'eni, so he made the whole negotiation. Only to give you a tip to think about that. Only a small tip to think about. We usually don't like Ephron. We think that he took advantage and he overcharged, and I'm not sure. Yeah, we learned that many several times. I think that Ephron was a genius. Ephron was showing Abraham Avinu how you can have, you're wrong, your approach to asking for a me'ara is wrong. You are entitled to have a sadeh. Get sadeh, get a piece of land, and then put it on the, register it formally in the city. And after you have registered in the city, use also the me'ara because it's yours. That's legal. Let me show you. This is a great lawyer, real estate lawyer, perfect. He said you can change the you can change the okay. You can change. I'm missing the way that is adjudicate this field. You can change it from sadeh to me'ara, no problem. But you have to go through the process. So that's why you have to buy the sadeh. Yeah. And what he sent it to him, Le Abraham le mikne. I am selling it to you in order that you have your flocks. What is your job? You are a shepherd, right? You shepherd, okay, for your mikne. And this is le'ine benehed. This is obviously open, and there is no, this is official and legal, and is le'ine to the eyes of benehed. Ubechol sha'ba'e sha'ariro. So that's the deed that was done. And then after that, it's mine. Kavar Abraham et Sara ishto. Efo, Sada Makpela. He Hebron be'eretz Kena'an. What was the promise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Eretz Kena'an. Finally, Abraham got to Eretz Kena'an. Finally, he got, meaning what he had to do. I find this message so strong. He said, you don't wait for the promise. What a big lesson. You don't wait for the promise. Promise doesn't happen. You made it happen. Vayakom. Abraham Avinu has to stand up. Vayakom me'al penei meto. He has to stand. He has to do something to make it happen. That's the right moment. And it was fabulous because Sara represented that moment. Sara represented the desire to have and to inherit the land of Israel and to take possession. He has to do Vayakom. I saw Haye ben Arsi, the brother of Sara Netanyahu. Yeah, he's a professor of Jewish philosophy. That when he mentioned and he made the study to see where those promises to the land of Israel happened to Abraham, where physically. And then he mentioned the 3 places, Elon Moreh, Bet El, and Elone Mamre. And he said that all those places are mountains. And this is very clear, you can see, you can watch. And that's why the Pasuk says, Sana einecha ur'eh. Yeah, when the Pasuk says, Sana einecha ur'eh, you can see it, Tzapona Banegva. From Elon Moreh, you can see the whole land of Israel. It's the highest place, it's 900 meters above the ocean. It's the highest place of Israel. You can see everything. You know, he said, and the other places are also mountains, very top that you can see. He said, so the promise of Abraham Avinu was visual. It was passive. You see, this is going to be yours. He said, but that was not enough. How the Pasuk said, the Pasuk continue, and Abraham understood it now. Kum hitalech ba'aretz azot. Kum, stand up, do something, move, walk in this land. You want it to be yours? You have to kum. Vayakom al penei meto. Abraham Avinu stand up when in that moment, and he acquired he took possession of it. Kum italech ba'aretz. You cannot wait to happen to you. It's not the promise. Okay, where is Mashiach? Didn't come yet. Yeah. Why we jumping? No, kum. You have. Oh, it's not that you think that was the land, a piece of grave. That's what he wanted. Yeah, you think that when they ask you, this is the land of Israel that we were expecting for 2,000 years. This is the state that we want. He said, well, it is not this is the state. You don't wait that the state will come to you in a golden or silver platter. You have to come, you have to go and to make it happen. And then what happened? What he did? And then he started doing it. So you have to do it step by step. Elon More, Bet El, Hebron, Elon Mamre, and to make it become a reality. This is a lesson. So Abraham Avinu, for the possession of the land, cannot lose hope. He cannot afford to live in fear. He needs to act. He needs to transform this fear on a great hope. Cannot afford it. What was the second promise? The second promise was children. What is the next parashat that Abraham Avinu has to do now? Immediately after the land of Israel, marry his son. Yes, he's 37 years old. Yes, it took him a long time to settle and to think. Yes, he doesn't have grandchildren to come. But who said that I can say, too bad? That is not too bad. I have to make it happen. And he sends Eliezer to look for Rivka. And I think that Eliezer was looking exactly for that. I find fascinating that Eliezer is watching Rivka, bringing him water. We all know the story. But and she finished giving him to drink. But Tomer, and she said by herself, I'm going to give it to your camels too. Until they finish drinking. But Temaher, and she runs. Wow, that reminds me of Abraham Avinu last week when the Malachim came. Yeah, he ran. He said to Sara, go quickly. Oh yeah, you have the same characteristic in this young girl. She's doing that with zeal. She's doing that quickly. But Temaher, Bata'at Kadan, she take it on her. Bataros, and she ran and she gave to drink to the Gemalim. So the Torah is also making a kind of GPS that usually the Gemalim should have a place to be close to the well, to the well. They don't have a close. You have to run back and forth, back and forth. And Eliezer, imagine the picture. Eliezer sitting over there. He just drank. He just sitting next to it and watching her doesn't help. And I am guaranteeing you that the people who were in the well, because she has to wait for her turn, they were mocking her. What you doing? Let her do it. At least let them help you. What you doing? And she kept doing. Veha'ish mishta'ela. And Eliezer is in awe. He's surprised. Yeah, mishta'eh. Yeah, he's watching her with admiration. Maharish, he doesn't say anything. He's thinking, Hayatzlah Hashem darko, whether HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make his mission successful. So what, Eliezer, you have a doubt? You don't see that happening in front of your eye? You didn't ask. You asked for a little water. She ran. She gave you to drink. She gave now to the Gemalim. She doesn't stop. You sitting here. You're doing nothing. She continue going, doing the work until the end. What you waiting for in order to understand that this is the girl? Why you didn't catch it yet? Next pasuk. It's only when the camels finish drinking. And you know the reservoir of the camels. The reservoir of the camel is full and you have to fill it because they're taking reserves for a long time. Only then he understood this is the one. And only then he understood that he gave her the tzimidim and he gave her the gift and he said, where are your family? Where is it? What Eliezer was waiting. Eliezer knows the house of Abraham. Eliezer knows that you don't give up. That Eliezer went the whole way with Abraham. There is a promise, and it seems to be over, and you don't give up. There is a promise, and you are in the moment of Berit Ben Abetarim, and you see only darkness, and you're frightening, but you don't give up. And the promise comes until you don't finish, you're still acting. When he saw that on this young girl, he understood, wow, that's Besurat Haaretz u Besurat Habanim. Here I have a guarantee that there is a continuity for the descendant. Here, and we know that Rivka will have problems to conceive, but she never gave up. She never gave up. She is the one that this message of Abraham Avinu by Yaakov, I have to act, and quickly, and completely, and devoted. This is what we find also in Rivka. I'm going to jump for a second, or we haven't, if you allowed me, another couple of minutes. To jump on Sefer Shemot. When we left already Egypt. And then Hashem said, whenever you're going to get to the land, we're not yet in the land, that God is going to give them. Keep this ritual of Pesach. One day, the children are going to ask you, what is all this ritual? Who is the son who is going to ask, you remember? That Haggadah, Rasha Ma'uomer. Rasha is going to ask, what is all this all about? Because what? Because we are in the land of Israel, we're done. We don't need any Torah. We don't need any rituals. We need to be a nation among the nations. We need to build a modern state. We need to put attention and to concentrate on progress, to concentrate on what Abraham called at the beginning, the physical part. Et Nesi Elohim, we don't need it anymore. We have the land. Martin, you have to answer. Pesach Lashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved you, B'Pasach Batei Mitzrayim, and tell them history. Link him to the past. Wait a second. Was that the answer that was given to the Rasha in the Haggadah? No. In the Haggadah, I remember that the Haggadah said, Lachem velo lo. You motzit atzmo min hakelal. You put yourself out of the... he excluded himself from the collective. So you know what? He denied the principle of the Jewish faith. So you have to be more aggressive with him if you want to say it somehow. But the Torah didn't say that. The Torah said, link it to the history. And immediately after, the Pasuk said, Vayikod ha'am vayishtahu. Vayikod, you see the word here, Vayikod, ha'am vayishtahu. The translation is, and then the people, when they heard that, they bow low in homage. No, that's a wrong translation. Vayikod, they don't know what the Vayikod means because we don't have any parallel word in the Torah. Vayikod. Yeah? Vayishtahu is to bow down. So what is Vayikod? Another kind of, what is here? Vayikod ha'am ishtahu. So Rashi, on the spot, Vayikod, it's a question of thanking. We're happy. Why? Al besurat hageula, bi'at haaretz u'surat habanim. This kind of Vayikod is a showing happiness, a showing satisfaction. Satisfaction? God just told you that you're going to have children who were Reshaim. God just told you that when you're going to get to the land of Israel, you might have children who are going to push away all the tradition. And then you're going to have to educate them from zero. God is telling you that, and you are happy, and you're thanking? Because that's what happened here. They saw the promise of Abraham Avinu in front of the earth. Basically, HaKadosh Baruch Hu just told me, I'm going to have the land of Israel. There is a promise. The promise is there. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me that he's going to have children. I understand that they're not going to be the best one. I understand that I might struggle with them. I understand that I'm going to be in anxiety, in fears, in questioning marks. But I'm going to have There is a certainty. There is a hope because I'm going to have the land and the children. Meaning emunah is not, is faith, right? Faith and hope goes together. Not true. Emunah is the engine, is the pusher. Emunah is conviction. Only when you are convinced, then you're going to get the Besulat Abanim. Then it's becoming true. Then you make it become true. Avraham Avinu teach me a huge chidush. He said, you know, there is Elohei Shamayim, God in heaven, spiritual God. It's Elohei Shamayim. Yeah. When he was talking like that, Avraham Avinu Elohei Shamayim Asher lekachani mibet avi was still in Haran. We was talking about the time in Haran that is Elohei Shamayim. But when he talks with Eliezer in our parasha, Va'ashbi'acha, I make you swear, be'Elohei Shamayim ve'Elohei haaretz. There is a new spirituality. The land of Israel, yeah, is not a piece of land physical. There is a bond between, there is a new concept of God. There is a new manifestation, a new conception of what God it is. It's not anymore the God who is in the heaven. It's not anymore the one that I have to reach out to him. It's Elohei haaretz. It's here. It's in the haaretz. When I'm working the land, when I'm planting, when I'm going, it's Elohei haaretz. That's what he's teaching Eliezer. So therefore, never make my son leave the haaretz because he's gonna have to worship God. And if I have to worship God, it's only by worshiping in the haaretz, Elohei haaretz. The Ramban said something very not politically correct. To you, to me, because we're living in New York. He said, Elohei Hashamayim ve'Elohei haaretz. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yikareh, he's been called Elohei Eretz Israel, the God of Eretz Israel. And he brings you Pesukim, Lo yada'u mishpat Elohei haaretz, Elohei Yerushalayim. Yesh beze sod. I will write to you, and he explained it in another way in Perashat Vayikra, what that means to be the God of that, the new conception. Aval bepasuk lekachani mibet avi, when Abraham said, you took me from Ur Kasdim, he was not in Eretz Israel, he was in Haran. Ki haya beharan or be'Ur Kasdim. That's why he called it Elohei haaretz. He was not understanding yet that concept. Look at the Masechet Ketubot. Hadar behutza la'aretz, the one who live outside of the land of Israel, Dome, resemble, Lemi she'en lo Eloah, the one who doesn't have a God. You don't have a God, we don't have a God. What we missing? We're missing Elohei haaretz. We have a conception of God, Elohei Shamayim. But by living outside of Eretz Israel, we're missing Elohei haaretz. He said, and this is what it says in the Pasuk, the Gemara over there explain it, that is la'avod Elohim achirim. You're worshipping other gods, not other gods, idols. You're worshipping a not full concept of Elohut, of the divinity. That was missing, and this is what's happening in our parasha. So the parasha, the end of the parasha, I'm stealing too long. The end of the parasha, Vayiten Abraham et kol asher lo, Abraham is clarifying. He's giving everything that he has to his son Yitzhak, the legacy. Yeah. And Bnei Pilagshim, I learned, I'm going to go quickly to that. I learned that Abraham remarried and he has 6 children. And the 6 children are also entitled to something. So what is the inheritance? He gave them matanot, he gave them on the lifetime, be'odenu hay, while he's still alive, he gave them their share. Eretz Kedma, and he sent them to, they said, some said to Asia. This is the nations who have a tradition, Abrahamic gift from Abraham. The knowledge and the wisdom of Asia came from that matanot that Abraham Avinu gave to the Pilagshim. Some said, you know what happened here? Is Abraham Avinu, if he gave it kol asher lo, if he gave everything that he had, he gave it to Yitzhak, how we still have matanot to give? He just gave it everything. He said, no, the only thing is asher lo that belonged to him is 2 things: the promise of the land and the promise of the children. This is what is his. We don't have any other thing. What we have as a possession is Asher Lo Yitzhak is getting the promise. Don't leave the land of Israel, it's yours. And you're going to have children and you're going to have a nation coming from you. Okay, well, I'm going to stop here. Oh, okay, let's finish in the beauty of the parasha. And Abraham died with good age. Yeah, and then the promise was fulfilled. He had children, Yitzhak and Ishmael, Banav, his children, bury him. Where? In Seder Ephron, let's continue. Where is that place? Al-Penim Amre, Hasadeh Asher Kana Abraham, and the place that belonged to him. Kubar Abraham and Sara, you close the cycle. And then Yitzhak is closing another cycle. Peace with Ishmael. He moved to live, Yitzhak then moved to live in Be'er Lahai Roi. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Okay.
Rabbi, this is a question if Yitzhak was rich or not, because seemingly Abraham didn't give him anything except for the Shavuot, except for the promises.
No, okay, so you entering on other midrashim also. Very quickly, I'm going to tell you that the matanot that was given to him, according to Hazal, was what he received matanot. When did Abraham receive gift? When he was in Mitzrayim, right? When he went to Mitzrayim the first time. So those gifts are the one that he gave to the children. He had other things that he became, the money that he made himself was another one. That's a perush to make it fit. If you want to make it fit with my idea that I just presented now, it's also, where did he got matanot? Where did he got this wisdom and knowledge? He got from the universal part of Abraham. Abraham was not only the narrowed Am Israel, he was also dedicated to the universal, with his relation with Mitzrayim. That's the task that he gave. To be a little bit more deep on that, Jack, Abraham Avinu was asked, stop. You don't have to continue outreaching. You have to be the new nation. Stop converting and making your beautiful work. That's great, but that doesn't last. You have to start from scratch. You have a new lab. Started from here. Abraham Avinu didn't give up. He said, you know what? Doesn't disturb my job. I can do both. One is through Yitzhak, and the other one is through Bnei Pilachim. Yeah, that's the second side job that Abraham is keeping alive, is his outreach to the world. He's planting to bring the name of Hashem to the whole world. Baruchim to you. Okay, my friend, have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
And Sonny, thank you very much for dedicating the class. And Yehi Ratzon, that will be Le'ilun Nishmat, Orech Yamim U'Shnot Hayim, Yosifu Lekulchem, Amen, Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi Azancot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Carlos,
I'm
we have
gonna
to
close.
punch your card or no?
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, we have to punch your card?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'll do that now.
Thanks for validation.
I'm going to close. No more
Bye, guys.
No Haki Balash.